of Fox Sports.
We are Fox. We are Minnesota.
The homestand continues for the Twins tonight as they open up a 3-game series welcoming in the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim to Target Field. 66 years ago today, April 15th, 1947, is when Jackie Robinson became the first African-American in Major League Baseball. Today, all around the league, baseball is honoring number 42. Today's starters are a part of that, of course. Kevin Correa goes for Minnesota, Joe Blanton for the Angels. Each pitcher is looking for win number 1 here in this young season. Welcome into Target Field. I'm Marnie Gellner. Today is officially Jackie Robinson Day all throughout Major League Baseball. Every player, every coach, every umpire tonight is wearing number 42 to honor everything that Jackie Robinson did across the color barrier and become the first black player in Major League Baseball. That includes Aaron Hicks, too, the rookie for Minnesota. He'll be wearing number 42. And he said earlier tonight he's never worn that number on a jersey as a baseball player in his entire career. Tonight, though, he will be honored to display number 42.
Jackie Robinson is a guy, just allowed pretty much showed, that he was strong and, could deal through anything to be able to, play the game of baseball, being the only black guy in the major leagues at the time.
Honoring the impact of Jackie Robinson's legacy tonight, Kevin Correa will get the Twins started against the Angels. The first pitch from Target Field is coming up next.
Fox Sports North is presented by Northland Ford. Visit northlandford.com and your local Northland Ford dealer today. And by Menards. Save big money on all your home improvement needs at Menards. Over the weekend, the White Sox and the Angels ended 5-game losing streaks. That's what the Twins will try to do here tonight, with Kevin Correa making his 3rd start of the year for the Twins. He's been their most reliable starting pitcher so far. Dick and Bert with you for the opener of this series with the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim, and the Twins will hand the ball to Kevin Correa, who's been really good so far.
He really has. 2 really consistent starts for Kevin Correa, and usually when you get out of a losing streak, it's because the starter does a good job. Well, Correa has pitched outstanding so far. Has nothing really to show for it other than a very good ERA. Hopefully here today he can pick up his first win in a Twins uniform.
Yeah, the Twins starters have just 1 win, that coming from Mike Pelfrey, so Correa will hope to get the Twins in the win column as they hope to win this series against Pujols, Hamilton, and the Angels when we come back.
In 1947, when I stepped on the baseball diamond for the Brooklyn Dodgers. I knew I was making history, but I didn't realize that barrier-breaking moment would create a social revolution. At the time, baseball was an all-white game, with African Americans designated to their own league. Now, that has been changed forever. At 28 years of age, I was lucky enough to have lettered in 4 sports at UCLA. I was also a veteran of World War II and had spent 2 years in the Negro Leagues. In an era when baseball was America's pastime and its passion, I became the target of racial slurs throughout the league. But I survived, becoming the first black athlete in major sports. The pressure was immense. But in my first season, I played well enough to be named Rookie of the Year. 2 years later, in 1949, I won the batting title and was named MVP. Since then, I've been enshrined in Cooperstown. But what makes me most proud is watching the game today and seeing the lasting effect that moment has had on baseball. And my number 42, retired in every ballpark.
And we thank Ansay Achea, who starred as Jackie in the play Jackie and Me at the Minneapolis Children's Theater. The Twins coming off a day yesterday that was rained out. But I suspect there were a lot of Twins fans who, like the 2 Twins TV announcers, went to see the movie 42 yesterday.
Yes, we did. I highly recommend it for anybody.
It was a wonderful movie, and just to be clear, you and I went separately. We did not go together.
We took our wives.
Twins taking the field, everybody wearing number 42 in both dugouts. Mike Scioscia's team has survived a very slow start. They did end a 5-game losing streak against the Houston Astros at home over the weekend. So now they're hoping to build a winning streak with this Menards batting order. Peter Bourjos in the leadoff spot. He'll be followed by Mike Trout, Albert Pujols, Josh Hamilton, Mark Trumbo, Howie Kendrick, Chris Iannetta, Brendan Harris, the former Twin, back in the big leagues, and then Luis Jimenez.
And it'll be Kevin Correa on the mound making his 3rd start of the year. He's coming off a tough loss in his last start in Kansas City. Took a 1-0 shutout into the 8th inning. Royals scored 3 runs. Ended up losing that ball game 3-1. But he has been the most consistent starter so far in his first 2 starts, going 7 innings in both.
Twins out on the field have Oswaldo Arcia in his major league debut in left field. Josh Willingham feeling a little under the weather. Darren Mastroianni in center. Chris Parmelee in right. Luke Florimon, Dozier Morneau, the infielders. Mauer behind the plate. Ryan Doumit, the designated hitter, in a big moment for the 21-year-old Venezuelan. He's in the big leagues. And in the starting lineup in left field, strike 1 to Peter Bourjos. Bourjos taking over in center field with the Angels' new look lineup, both the pitching staff and the position players. Tapped, foul, 0-2.
Well, we have seen Bourjos. This is a guy you want to keep off the bases. Great speed.
A year ago, it kind of looked like Bourjos was going to be the odd man out. But with the Angels letting Torrey Hunter go, acquiring Josh Hamilton, a reconfigured lineup, sending Mike Trout to left, and Bourjos very fleet of foot in center. 1-2, Correa to Bourjos.
Correa making his first career start against the Angels, his 2nd appearance when he was with the San Francisco Giants back in 2006. He made an appearance as a reliever against the Angels. He worked only 1/3 of an inning.
2-2.
We saw that in Kansas City too, making his first major league start. Of course, Correa spent most of his and all of his career in the National League before signing with the Twins over the winter.
To left center and deep to the gap. Arcia chasing it. He won't get there. In fact, that ball's gone. Bourjos with a home run to start the ball game. Hit his first major league home run here at Target Field a few years ago, and his 2nd of the year makes it 1-0.
Well, one thing we have seen the starters do is make a lot of mistakes over the plate. These starters for the Twins come into this ball game 1-6 in ERA at 6.32. And this looked like a fastball pretty much right down the middle of the plate. Bourjos did not miss it. A line drive home run. And just like that, the Angels are up 1-0.
Yeah, you could see Bourjos with his hand gestures. Trout in the box now. Said, yeah, fastball. Then breaking ball came in with a fastball, and he hit it.
Yeah, 2 sliders that missed, and then he waited on that 2-2 fastball and hit it over the fence.
Fouled away, and Correa gets ahead of Trout 0-2. The Angels were here in Minnesota early last year, and Trout wasn't even with them. Then when the Twins went out to Anaheim a little bit later on in the early in the month of May, Trout was not an everyday player. He was kind of a reserve player, and yet a runaway winner for the Rookie of the Year award. Missing inside 1-2.
Well, Trout played in 139 games last year. He hit .326, hit 30 home runs, drove in 83, led the American League with 49 stolen bases. This guy is a 5-tool player.
And there's the breaking pitch that Bourjos laid off. Trout swings and misses, 1 away.
Let's take another look at Peter Bourjos' home run against Kevin Correa. Watch the location. It's pretty much right there down the middle of the plate. And Joe Mauer not moving much right there. That's a breaking ball.
Looked like a cutter almost. At any rate, it's a home run.
Cut right there in the bullpen.
It didn't cut enough. And now Albert Pujols. Mentioned the Angels ended a 5-game losing streak in their weekend series at home against the Astros. They won a couple of ball games, the last 2 games of that series, and over those 2 games, both Pujols and Hamilton started hitting. Pops straight up in the air, and Mauer might have a play. Pujols heads back to the dugout. 2 down. Chris Conroy behind the plate. Paul Nauert, Andy Fletcher, Sam Holbrook. The rest of the umpires on this crew. It's trying to clear off, but it's still very cool, if not cold. 39 degrees, the first pitch temperature. So 2 down, and that'll bring up Josh Hamilton.
Hamilton off to a slow start in his first season with the Angels, but has picked it up as of late, like you mentioned, Dick. Big free agent signing by the Angels over the winter.
1-1. Hamilton signing a 5-year deal, about $25 million a year. Just off the plate, 2-1. The Angels started the year on the road, first in Cincinnati and then in Texas. It was not a pleasant weekend for Josh Hamilton in Arlington, Texas. 3-1 with Mark Trumbo on deck. Hamilton booed relentlessly throughout the 3-game series, being cheered only when he struck out. Tap foul, 3-2, which was often.
That home run allowed by Correa, his first of the year, and only the 4th home run allowed by a starting pitcher. And the 7th overall.
Twins have hit 7. They've allowed 7 so far. And a changeup got him. A couple of strikeouts in the inning, but a 2-2 pitch to Peter Porges ends up in the bullpen. It's 1-0. Jump out to a quick 1-0 lead. Ron Gardenhire hoping the Twins can do what the Angels did. The White Sox over the weekend end a 5-game losing streak. Get back to winning games and series at home. The Menard batting order for the Twins. Aaron Hicks is out. Darren Mastroianni is in, at least tonight. Joe Mauer batting second. Then Justin Morneau, Ryan Doumit, Chris Parbley, Trevor Plouffe, Oswaldo Arcia, his major league debut. Hitting 7th, Brian Dozier and Pedro Florimo.
And Joe Blanton on a mound like Correa, making his 3rd start of the season, looking for his first win as an Angel. Signing as a free agent over the winter. Making his 10th career start against the Twins, 5-4 in his career against the Minnesota Twin organization.
And Blanton gets the glove down. Closes 5-hole, 1 away. Angels have had some problems in the field. Here's their Northland Ford defense. Mike Trout, Peter Borges, Josh Hamilton, the outfielders, very fleet of foot out there. Luis Jimenez instead of Alberto Callaspo is hurt. Brendan Harris in place of Eric Ibar is hurt. Howie Kendrick already has 3 errors. Albert Pujols has played some first, DH'd as well, and Chris Iannetta behind the plate. Here's the Twins catcher, Joe Mauer. And a strike. Mauer's average a couple of ticks below the 300 mark. One and one.
Changeup right there by Blanton. Blanton with a fastball, upper 80s, low 90s, curveball, slider, and a changeup. Came up with the Oakland A's back in 2002. Has also pitched for the Phillies and the Dodgers.
Called strike. Ooh. We've probably seen marginal pitches called strikes against Joe.
This is the one that Kevin Correa would like to have too.
Yeah. 1-2. And now 2-2.
Mauer over his career against Blanton, 7 hits and 22 at-bats.
We saw a lot of Blanton when he was with the A's. High fly to right center field. Borges chasing it at the wall. It's off the wall, and Mauer has a double. He hit that ball a long way into the wind. And the carom came down and hit Borges right in the chest, it looked like.
That might be one of the first balls we have seen Joe really pull with power. Looked like a high fastball. And he gave it a ride. Borges went back to that wall about 400 feet away. Thought maybe that ball would come down short, but it just caromed right to him. He knocked it down. And it's a 1-out double for Joe Mauer, his 5th double of the year.
Like it hit about halfway up on the scoreboard, maybe. Here's Justin Morneau, tying run at second, and 1 away. Morneau broke up a no-hit bid on a Saturday with a home run off the foul screen and right.
Last couple games over the weekend against the Mets, Justin, I thought, swung the best bat he's swung so far this year, making great contact.
High fastball, a swing, and a foul tip, 2 strikes. Now Morneau on Friday hit one high off the wall in right center field, missing a home run by inches. Breaking ball in the dirt. 1-2.
Yeah, that's that curveball right there by Blanton. Blanton has made, this is his 231st major league start. He has 83 wins, 77 losses, 8 complete games.
Another fastball up. Now it's 88-89, but he's got Morneau to foul a couple of them up there. Here's what happened Saturday in the 8th inning with the Twins still looking for their first hit.
Yeah, Matt Harvey pitching a shutout until that pitch right there.
One and two. And now 2-2.
Blanton in his first 2 starts, not very consistent. 5 innings in both starts. He has allowed 4 home runs in his first 2 starts. 17 hits in 10 innings pitched.
Pulled the string, got him for a strikeout, 2 down.
A good sinker, good location right there by Blanton, and he picks up his first strikeout. A little bit of movement down and away.
So 2 down, and that'll bring up Ryan Doumit with Josh Willingham out of the lineup. Again, a little under the weather. Morneau moving up to the 3rd spot. Doumit moving into the cleanup spot. Hoping to deliver a big 2-out hit here to get the game tied up. Breaking ball over, strike 1. When the Twins won their first 2 series and won 4 of the first 6 games, they got a lot of hits in situations like this. And then, of course, over the last 5 losses, they haven't gotten many key hits at all. Certainly not enough. That's outside, 1-1. Sharply hit into right field. There's a big 2-out hit, and it'll tie the game. Doumit punched one through the shift. His team leading 6th run batted into the year.
That ball hit pretty hard right there. Kendrick at second base, diving to his right. He's just trying to knock it down if he could. But the ball scooted through the infield very quickly. So an RBI single by Ryan Doumit. Picks up Joe Mauer. And the game is tied at 1 apiece.
And that'll bring up Chris Parmelee. Parmelee with 5 runs batted in on the year, and he takes a strike on the outside corner. The original lineup for the Twins had Parmelee in right, Willingham in left, and Arcia as the designated hitter, but that was changed when Willingham reported to the ballpark not feeling well. Off the plate, 1-1. Parmelee, the outfield, playing him to pull the ball ever so slightly. Foul back, and it's 1-2. Blanton in his last start, they said he really struggled with his changeup, and he threw maybe the best one he's thrown this year to Morneau to strike him out.
Yeah, Blanton last year started with the Philadelphia Phillies and then early August traded over to the LA Dodgers, became a free agent and signed a 2-year contract with the Angels.
On 2 hops to Kendrick, and that ends the inning. Doumit with a 2-out single, getting Mauer in from second base, and it's 1 apiece.
run in the first inning. The Twins and the Angels are now tied at 1 to start the second. I'm Marnie Gellner. Tonight's matchup features the 2 longest tenured managers in all of baseball. Mike Scioscia is in his 14th season with the Angels. Ron Gardenhire in his 13th with the Twins. And Gardy said Scioscia is very intelligent, said his teams always are so well prepared. And when you see him in the dugout, he's really into the game. You never know what's going to happen. He leaves you guessing all the time. But Gardy said of Scioscia, he's always been one of the best in the league. You give him the talent, he can really do some good things with it. Dick and Bert, there are a lot of respect in the words there from Ron Gardenhire about Mike Scioscia.
Yeah, thank you, Marty. I think if you ask Mike Scioscia the same question, he would say the same thing about Ron Gardenhire.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yep.
Mark Trumbo will lead things off for the Angels in the second. Taking ball 1 and a sharply hit ball toward left center field. Mastroianni with a retrieve, and it's a leadoff single. Of course, the 2 managers managed against each other in the 2002 playoffs. Each team advanced past the first round. Here's Trumbo with a sharp single to center. Correa leaving a pitch up. And the Angels won that series, went on to win the World Series. Twins beating the Oakland A's that year. Angels beat the Yankees in the first round. Here's Howie Kendrick. One of the problems the Angels have had trying to get this lineup to produce more runs more consistently, they've bounced into an awful lot of double plays. So Correa hoping to get one of those double play grounders here off the bat of Kendrick. The chopper foul. The Twins have only grounded into 4 double plays. They've turned a dozen of them. Or excuse me. The Twins have hit into 5 of them, and they've turned 10 of them. The Angels have bounced into 12 ground ball double plays already.
Howie Kendrick in his 8th season with the Angels. All-star a couple of years ago for the Angels. Always been a good hitter, a career .292 hitter coming into this year.
Down and away, 1-2. We mentioned he's got 3 errors already this year. The Angels, through injury, have had to reconstruct the left side of their infield. There's a grounder to second. There's 1. There's 2. Florimon had a tough time getting the ball out of his glove, but Kendrick wraps into a 4-6-3 double play.
And his last start against the Royals, Correa had a couple double plays turned behind him. So that's exactly what they did for you, Dick. You were talking about needing a double play, ball down. Kendrick, nice little flip from Dozier. A little double clutch, but able to get Kendrick at first base.
Chris Iannetta, the catcher, takes outside, ball 1. Angels with a payroll just south of $150 million. And their 2-8 start this year, tied for the worst in franchise history.
Jarrett Weaver going down with that fractured left elbow. That's not going to help the Angels.
Fly ball center field, playable for Mastroianni. Correa faces just 3 men in the second. potentially devastating early injury for the Angels.
Yeah, ball hit off the bat right there, right back up the middle, and Jarrett Weaver trying to get out of the way ended up putting that elbow into that mound and ended up fracturing that left elbow. So that the ace of the Angels will be missed.
Of course, Weaver threw a no-hitter at the Twins last year. Here's Trevor Plouffe taking a strike at the knees. Plouffe, then Arcia and Brian Dozier. Fouled away, 2 strikes.
Gardy right there talking to Florimone. Of course, Gardy, a former infielder, talking to him about turning to double play.
Tapper to short. Brendan Harris fires across on close play. Plouffe retired 1 away. Wild Hockey's on Fox Sports North Plus tonight. They're in Calgary taking on the Flames, looking to make a playoff push. They dropped the puck at 8. Here are the channels you can find Fox Sports North Plus. And if you don't see the carrier here, go to foxsportsnorth.com for complete listing. Oswaldo Arcia's first major league at-bat. 21 years old from Venezuela. He emerged last year as one of the hottest prospects in the Twins system.
Yeah, Twins minor league player of the year last year. He won the Sherry Robertson Award. Very good minor league numbers over 5 seasons. A career .314 hitter.
Down the right field line for a hit on the second pitch. Arcia lines it. Now he's trying for second. Hamilton's throw off the mark, and Arcia will ask for the baseball. Hamilton with an error in right, allowing Arcia to go to the extra base.
Yeah, Hamilton trying to play that little short hop right there, as that baseball is going to be brought back to the dugout. Arcia's first major league hit, and good base running, good alert base running as he rounded first base, noticing that Hamilton was juggling the ball, and he got into scoring position.
Another error for the Angels. And here Hicks is going, hey, it's not that easy. Second pitch he sees, and he ends up at second base. Down and away, ball 1 to Brian Dozier. For the Angels, their 12th error of the season.
And for Hamilton, his second error. I was talking to Mike Scioscia before the ball game down in their dugout, and that's what he was saying. We're just not playing very good fundamental baseball. It's just kind of ugly right now.
Which is uncharacteristic for them. Fouled away. You know, the Twins are searching for a combination in the middle infield. They're searching for a center fielder. They're searching for some spots, and so they're going to be necessarily some rough spots. But with the Angels, you've got veteran players pretty much everywhere in the lineup. Guys like Kendrick have been around for a while, certainly Hamilton. 1-2. And Dozier rolls it up the line. Iannetta picks it up, and Arcia stays at second base. That'll bring up Florimone.
Let's take a look at the pitch right here. Arcia getting his first major league hit. Iannetta sitting inside, the ball left up. And a nice solid swing, lining it into left field. Watch a little juggle act right there.
Off the beat.
And then when he dropped it right there, that's what Arcia saw. And hustled into second.
Twins got a 2-out hit in the first inning to get their first run. They'll need another one here from Florimone. And it's a fly ball to center. Easy play for Borges. And Arcia gets a hit in his first major league at bat. He's left the board. It's still 1 apiece. is presented by CenturyLink, your link to what's next. By Grand Casino, the best stories start here. And by Sanford Orthopedics and Sports Medicine, for the everyday competitor in all of us. When you join the Twins season ticket family this year, you'll be hitting the sweet spot. Purchase any of the Twins season ticket packages. Receive 10% off all food, beverage, and merchandise bought at Target Field. Call 800-33-TWINS. Visit twinsbaseball.com to check out the options and learn about the benefits that come along with Twins season tickets. Kevin Correa facing Brendan Harris.
Former Twin Brendan Harris.
And a bell tie strike.
Brendan Harris with the Twins from 2008 to 2010, 3 seasons.
And ball 1.
In those 3 years, he is a .251 hitter for the Twins in 296 games. Hit 14 home runs for the Twins.
Spent the last 2 years in the minor leagues. Won a job as a minor league invitee with the Angels, non-roster invitee. And the Angels deciding to keep Harris, who hit well, albeit in the minor leagues last year. 1-2. Up high, and it's 2-2. Correa gave up a home run to Peter Borges to start the ball game. Since then has gotten 6 outs from the next 6 batters. Just off the corner, and it's a full count.
That looked a pretty good pitch right there.
Harris, Jimenez, and Borges. The Angels here in the 3rd. That's hit a long way. Pretty much the same pitch he threw Borges with the same result. It's 2-1.
Well, Brendan Harris hitting his first home run as an Angel. It's a 2-1 Angel lead. Harris's last home run came as a Minnesota Twin back in 2010. Got a fastball belt high.
So 2 on Angels, and now Luis Jimenez. Jimenez playing at third base for Alberto Callaspo, who's hurt. He's got a calf injury. He's not on the disabled list. He may end up there. Jimenez, who's hit well over 300 in the minor leagues for the Angels, getting the chance that Arcia now has been given with the Twins.
Yeah, Jimenez starting the season down in AAA Salt Lake City for the Angels. Got called up about 3 days ago.
That's to right field and a base hit. So the 3rd inning starts with a pair of hits. The Angels in front, back to the top of the order. You can be a part of our broadcast. Vote for who you think is the Arby's Value Player of the game. Just text value, a space, and the player's last name to 234-234. Let us know who you think had the most value in today's game. We'll tell you the winner in our postgame show. Borges on a 2-2 pitch got something out over the plate and pulled it into the bullpen for a leadoff home run. Up and in. It seems odd from the outside that Borges would be given center field. Nothing take nothing away from his abilities, but Mike Trout last year in center field seemed like he was on the highlight reels every night making a great catch in center. There might be another double play ball. Good play by Dozier, taking the out at second base on his own and getting the speedy Borges the second ground ball double play for Correa tonight.
Yeah, high chopper over the mound, and Dozier, whose momentum was going towards second base, if you can eliminate any type of toss, step on the bag, and it's got to be a bang-bang double play because Borges can get down that line quickly. And it's a quick turn of a double play.
So 2 down, and here's Mike Trout.
I remember in spring training, they kind of had a log jam in the outfield because of Vernon Wells. They didn't know what to do with Vernon Wells. Ended up sending him over to the New York Yankees.
He's done fairly well for the Yankees.
Yeah, he's hit about 3 home runs, I believe, coming into today's play.
To right center field. And that ball won't be caught. Trout flying around second. He wants third. No, he doesn't. He was ready to go to third base, and he caught third base coach, the Dino Ebel over there. I can't even recognize him.
It's Dino Ebel.
And they put the stop sign on with significantly the cutoff man being hit here.
Well, I'll tell you what, when Mike Trout hits that ball, watch him hustle out of that box, and this guy can fly. Mastroianni gets the ball back in very quickly. He's thinking third right there, but then holds up. 5th double of the year for Trout.
Trout gesture, a gesture of thanks to Dino Ebel for putting on the stop sign, especially with Pujols hitting next. Pulled to third. Plouffe has it. And fires across to end the inning. Pujols has got all sorts of leg issues. He's not running well. The Angels retake the lead on another home run. Broadcast with our AT&T Twitter poll. This week starts a new question, which is which division will be the most competitive this season? Tweet your answer using the following hashtags: 2013 AL East, 2013 AL Central. Mastroianni takes strike one, and we'll continue the poll through the game Sunday in Chicago and give you the final results. Mastroianni with a 2-hopper back to the mound his first time up. Now fouled away, 2 strikes. A pass along best wishes to great Twins fan Brady Graham, 9 years old, and he's at Children's Hospital in Minneapolis watching. We know you're a great Twins fan. We'll see if the Twins can come back and win a ball game for you tonight, Brady.
Let's hope so, Brady.
1-2. Mastroianni, Mauer, and Morneau facing Joe Blanton. Breaking ball, and it's tapped foul. Aaron Hicks given the night off, at least out of the starting lineup. Hicks continues to struggle with just 2 hits. Mastroeni, really the only guy on the roster qualified to play center field. So if Hicks sits, Mastroeni has to play. And he gets a base hit. Mastroeni with a leadoff single here in the third. Minnesota Wilds on Fox Sports North Plus tonight. They're in Calgary taking on the Flames, looking to make a playoff push. 8 o'clock start time about 10 minutes from now, and here are the channels where you can find Fox Sports North Plus. If you don't see your carrier there, go to foxsportsnorth.com for complete listings.
Yeah, now the speedy Mastroeni at first base. So Blanton, will see how he holds them on. Last year, Mastroeni 21 stolen bases in 24 attempts. 0 for 1 so far this year.
Mauer takes a strike on the outside corner. Joe doubled off the fence in deep right center field. And then later scored on Domit's 2-out single. And there haven't been many times, frankly, with Hicks' struggles that Mauer's come up with a man aboard. There goes Mastroeni. Head first slide, and he's in.
Well, he picked a good pitch, too, because it looked like a breaking ball, and Iannetta had to go down and then try to make a good throw. So Mastroeni and his speed gets into scoring position with nobody out. His first stolen base of the year. For the Twins, their third in 8 attempts.
Yeah, they've not stolen well at all. That's a reflection again of maybe the top base stealer on the team, Aaron Hicks, simply not getting on base to steal bases. 1-1 to Mauer. Fouled away, 1-2.
I'd like to say happy 98th birthday to Pearl Flem from Moorhead, Minnesota. She watches every game, so Pearl, hopefully you're sitting back, relaxing, and happy 98th birthday to you, young lady.
1-2 to Mauer. And now 2-2.
Yeah, I mentioned his last at bat. How many base hits or extra base hits have we seen Joe hit to the, say, right side? Most of his hits have all been down that left field line or to left field, left center. He got a high fastball from Blanton and gave it a ride.
Even his home run was hit down the left field line in Kansas City.
Right.
Got a piece of it. Just got a piece of it.
What he'd like to do right here, and I know, you want to try to advance that runner. And a ground ball to third or short will not advance Mastroeni. So Joe right here would probably like to pull the ball, but there's 2 strikes on him, so he has to kind of do what the pitcher gives him right here. If it's inside, Joe, I'm sure, will try to pull it. If it's away, slap it in the left for a base hit.
And a fastball down and away gets a big strikeout, 1 down.
Blanton picks up his second strikeout of the ball game. Came at a good time with a runner at second and nobody out.
So now Morneau, who struck out in the first inning, will try to tie the game up. Any hit to the outfield should get that done. Off the plate, ball 1. Josh Willingham not feeling well today. Not in the lineup. Checked his swing, 2-0. So Mauer and Morneau are hitting back to back, but instead of hitting third and fourth, they're hitting second and third in the lineup. Dangerous pitch to Justin Morneau. And he flips it foul down the left field line.
Well, that might have been the changeup right there. Justin a little out front. For Joe Blanton, his best season came as far as wins in a season back in 2006 when he was a member of the Oakland A's. He won 16 ball games that year. A couple of years ago, he missed some starts with the Phillies with the oblique strain. Last year, between the Phillies and the Dodgers, a 10-game winner, but he lost 13.
Two and one to Morneau. Checked his swing, but not in time. 2-2.
Wouldn't lay out that high fastball.
See Justin go upstairs with some swings to try to hit a pitch that's out of the strike zone a few times.
Just couldn't hold up right there.
Two and two. Breaking ball left up, and Morneau fouled it back. Now Bernansky, the first-year hitting coach with the big league club. Some advice for Chris Parmelee, who hopes to have an at-bat here in the third inning. Pop straight up, back and out of play. Still 2-2. Taken for ball three.
Good take right there by Justin.
How do you take that pitch? So a full count with Doumit on deck. Lace to center. Borges going back. That's over his head. Mastroianni will score. Morneau to second with a double. And it's tied at 2. That ball was creamed. That was a good at bat right there.
That was a very good at bat. You mentioned he's really been swinging a hot bat over the last 3 or 4 ball games. That fastball right there, boy, he give it a ride. And Borges with great speed out in center field. He went back. Looked like he might be able to get it. That's how hard that ball was hit over his head. Mastroianni scores the tying run, and it's an RBI double for Justin. It's his 4th double, driving in his 6th run.
Time called at the plate. Ryan Doumit got a 2-out single to drive in Mauer with the first run of the ball game. That tied the game at 1. Yeah, Borges can't catch it. It can't be caught.
Oh.
Up, strike one again. That seems to be, or that was the pitch that he really struggled with in his last start. But boy, he's thrown some great changeups in the ball game here in the early innings.
Yeah, you know, the fastball, I remember him being at fastball around 91, 92, but it's topped out about 88. So yeah, a lot of off-speed stuff. There's a good sinker down and away at 82 miles an hour. A lot of major league starts, 231. Again, he has only 8 complete games, but 3 shutouts. One of them coming against the Twins in Oakland. He pitched a 3-hit shutout against Carlos Silva and the Twins back in 2007.
And another changeup. It's a swing and a miss, and Doumit is gone on 3 pitches.
Second strikeout of the inning, his 3rd of the ball game for Joe Blanton.
Before Chris Parmelee's at bat, Ben Revere with a great catch for the Phillies.
Well, no surprise, Ben Revere can make some great catches.
Phillies wearing the gray uniform, so not at home, but he's going to be a fan favorite in Philadelphia.
Charlie loves it. Charlie Manuel.
Here's Chris Parmelee. Twins need a 2-out hit to take their first lead. Down and away, ball 1. Parmelee bounced to second to wrap up the first inning. Down the left field line, foul over the tarp. 1-1.
Well, the Twins have scored 42 runs so far this year, and 24 have come with 2 outs. It's the best in the American League. See if Parmelee can add to those numbers.
Blocked by Iannetta. 2-1.
Blanton has pitched here once at Target Field. That was last year when he was with the Phillies. He threw a complete game against the Twins in a 6-1 win over Scott Diamond. Only hit off of him was Trevor Plouffe's solo home run in the 2nd inning. Twins doing a better job here tonight.
Parmelee fouls an 87-mile-per-hour fastball back. I guess, you know, looking at Blanton's fastball, we've seen, I think, it top out at 89. So if that's the top end of his fastball, you can understand why he really needs to have command of that changeup. He doesn't have the type of stuff that's going to blow you away.
Right. He has to hit his spots. He has to make sure he can get his breaking ball over along with the changeup. Just not fastball, changeup. He's still working that breaking ball, too. Great location.
Another changeup, got another strikeout. He struck out the side. The Twins, with a couple of hits, though, tie it up. From up here as if they were the identical pitch.
We thought it was the same pitch. Watch both of them at the plate at the same time and look at the location of both those pitches. The exact same spot. And Borges led off the game with a home run, and then Harris, last inning, hits his first home run as an Angel.
No, what I take out of that is Peter Borges is a lot faster than
out of the box.
Harris.
Well, Borges didn't know if it was going to be gone, where Harris, I think he knew.
Yeah.
He got all of it.
1-0 to Josh Hamilton. Called out on strikes his first time up. Fouled back, and it's 1-1. averages with as many home runs now as Hamilton has for the Angels this year. Down and in, and it's 2-1. The Angels certainly have a presence in the middle of their lineup, and Hamilton a big part of it. But starting with Mike Trout, who now is hitting second for Mike Scioscia. Trout, Pujols, Hamilton, and Trumbo all hit 30 or more home runs last year. 3-1. They're the only team in baseball that has 4 such players.
Yeah, remember last year, Dick, Pujols started off, very slowly. And he picked it up. He ended up hitting 30 home runs right on the button.
Change up, tap to second. Gobbled up by Dozier. Hamilton retired 1 away. You can get into our broadcast on Fox Sports North and talk baseball. Submit a question online at carsoup.com/baseball. Tim in Burnsville wondering, can pitchers actually throw inside too much?
I think they can. I think sometimes pitchers get away from the strength, and the strength usually is that fastball down and away. I would like to see the staff throw a little bit more down and away to get strike one. I think Correa's done a good job of that. There's a fastball missing down and in. So far, 9 of 14, he's been able to get first pitch strikes, but you can see the Twins having a tough time. Lowest in the American League as far as getting strike one. Get ahead in the count.
That places them roughly, though, in the middle of the pack. They're sixth from the lowest, so
right.
Out of 15 teams.
I know the weather has not been, favorable, I think, for a pitcher or really a hitter. The weather's been terrible all season long, and you'd like to say that that's part of the reason, but I think this guy on the mound here tonight, he's a strike thrower. And I think that's one thing he's been able to do in his first 2 starts. They left a couple balls up here today, but I always say solo home runs aren't going to beat you. It's that crooked number inning that's going to beat you.
2-1 to Trumbo. Big swing and a foul, 2-2. Correa looking for his first win for the Twins in the American League. All of that looked like his first win was going to come in Kansas City, but that late inning loss was the first of what turned out to be 5 straight losses.
But you know what? Credit Correa on wanting to go out there and hold on to that 1-0 lead. It didn't work out, but how many times a line shot down that left field line, and Trumbo's going to have his second hit of the ball game, this time a double. This kid is strong right here, Mark Trumbo.
Single, now a double with 1 out of the 4.
32 home runs last year, hit 268. Boy, when that ball jumps off his bat, it comes off with a lot of authority.
That looked like the same pitch that the other guys hit out for a home run. A little cutter that just sits right over the middle of the plate.
He got the barrel of the bat out, lined it into that left field corner. So it's a 1-out double for Trumbo.
Here's Howie Kendrick. Bounce to the right side. Morneau gobbles it up. Trumbo moves up a base, 2 down. We'll bring up Iannetta. Fox Sports North presents Kids in the City, supported by Buffalo Wild Wings. Celebrating the accomplishments of the Boys and Girls Club youth at the 9th annual Kids in the City event, April 25th at Target Field. Enjoy an adult pre-party at Fulton Brewery, silent auction, kids interactive activities, and more. For sponsorship and tickets, visit foxsportsnorth.com. Click on North Supports under the More tab. 2 gone and a big batter here now. Iannetta with the go-ahead run at third. At the knees, strike 1. Iannetta with a fly ball to Mastroeni, his first time up.
Iannetta in his second season with the Angels, coming over from the Rockies. His 8th major league season.
And now a ball, 1-1.
Kevin Correa making his 162nd major league start. He has 60 wins, 66 losses, a couple complete games, 1 shutout in his career.
And on the outside corner, 1-2. We'll have to keep a closer eye on it, but look where Darren Mastroeni's playing, how shallow he is in center field. The darkened area behind him is where Aaron Hicks typically would play. But Mastroeni plays a much shallower center field, at least in this at bat. Tapped up the line, foul.
I can honestly say I never had center fielders that, when I was on the mound, play that shallow. Mine were always against the fence.
Well, Kirby Puckett, as great as he was, 6 Gold Gloves, he played one of the deepest center fields, which explained why he was able to take so many home runs back.
Yes, I made him a hero many times.
You're single-handedly responsible for him being in the Hall of Fame.
No, I think he did.
1-2 to Iannetta. Long look into Mauer, and Iannetta asks for time. Another 1-2 pitch. Angels coming into this game with a puny 136 batting average with men in scoring position. Their 2 runs today have been scored on solo home runs. And Iannetta's at bat here, the second in the 4th inning with a man in scoring position.
Well, let's get it lower.
So far today, 0 for 2. Pujols with Trout at second wasn't able to get a base hit.
Quick trip to the mound by Joe Mauer, making sure, Correa wants to throw a certain pitch, and Joe and Kevin were not on the same page, and they're discussing it right here, what he wants to do.
So far, the Twins have done a good job matching the Angels when they've scored. You don't want to keep that pattern up all night either. It'd be nice for the Twins to get a run on the bottom of the 4th and take their first lead. 2-2, Correa to Iannetta. Fouled away.
Correa again making his first major league start against the Angels. There are a couple hitters, since some of the hitters coming over from the National League have faced Correa. Iannetta, one of those, coming into the ball game 4 for 8 with a home run against Kevin Correa. The other in the lineup is Albert Pujols, who's faced Correa before.
Breaking ball, and Iannetta takes it for ball 3.
Iannetta right there took a pretty good slider down and away.
Brendan Harris on deck. And he walked him. So Iannetta fills first base. And Harris to the plate.
Yeah, first walk for Kevin Correa. It's only the 3rd walk of the year for Kevin. So to go along with 4 strikeouts he's had so far and almost 18 innings pitched, you can see he's a pitcher that has to throw the ball somewhere where the hitter's going to hit it. Hopefully it'll be on the ground somewhere.
So Harris, a little payback in his last at bat, homering against the team that traded him to the Orioles a couple years ago. 1st and 3rd, 2 away. Down the middle, a strike. The Twins traded J.J. Hardy and Brendan Harris to Baltimore and ended up getting Jim Hoey, who was with them for about half the year the next year, then left the organization.
Harris came to the Twins from the Tampa Bay Rays in the Matt Garza trade.
Matt Garza, Jason Bartlett also went to the Rays. 1-1.
I don't care about everyday players. I'm talking pitchers. Yeah.
It's all pitching with you, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Well, a big spot here for Correa as he tries to keep the Angels off the board in the 4th. This will be his 62nd pitch. In his start against the Royals, he had some short pitch innings, low pitch innings, and that's why he was out there as a candidate to complete 8 innings. Just didn't get it done.
Yeah, this will be his 22nd pitch of the inning.
Swing and a miss.
Good fastball down. Good fastball down right there at 90 miles an hour. Brendan Harris came up with the Cubs in 2004, spent time with the Expos, then the Nationals, Reds, Rays, Twins, and now here re-emerging at the major league level with a couple years in the minor leagues with the Angels.
To right center and deep. Parmalee chasing it, makes the catch near the edge of the track. A long fly, not long enough, and Correa leaves a couple of Angels aboard. Pepsi fan of the game.
There you go, young man. Hopefully the Twins can win for you here tonight. Pepsi fan of the game.
The Twins looking to get their first lead. Trevor Plouffe, Oswaldo Arcia, and Brian Dozier to face Joe Blanton.
Yeah, a lot of pitches last inning, the third inning for Blanton. 27
There's a deep
pitches.
drive to left. Trevor Plouffe has given the Twins the lead into the second deck.
Not wasting any time, jumping on that first pitch. Trevor Plouffe hits his second home run of the year. That's a 3-2 Twins lead. This was a no-doubter. Ball came running back into the swing of Trevor Plouffe. That sound.
It's a wonderful sound.
Oh.
Here's Oswaldo Arcia. Off-speed pitch for a strike. Arcia spanked the second pitch he saw as a big leaguer into right field. A solid single. He went to second on the air to Hamilton. And another off-speed pitch misses. The first one was 73 miles per hour. That one was 71.
That's a young man, 21 years old. Started at single A last year.
High and fairly deep to center. Borges retreating for the first out.
Arcia last year, single A, double A. It's 17 home runs last year between single A and double A, and this year off to a hot start. Let's take a look at his first major league at bat. Lined a base hit in the right field. Hamilton had a tough time getting the ball and alertly scooting over to second base.
And the baseball taken out of play. Bouncer to third. Jimenez fires across, and Dozier quickly retired. 2 down. Well, now there's all sorts of pranks that go on when a baseball's taken out for a milestone.
Really?
With in the case of Aaron Hicks, when he got his base hit in his final at bat of the first home series, they took a different baseball, misspelled his name, and scribbled some words on it and handed it to him. And I know that's not something you would ever be a part of.
I can't believe anybody would ever do that.
Condone anything like that at all.
Oh, that's terrible. That's Gary DiSarcina, former shortstop for the Angels.
Florimon bunts. Safe at first. Bunt single with 2 gone in the 4th.
You know, we saw this from Florimon in Kansas City when he took that ball with him toward first base. Showing off that speed, this time as a left-handed hitter, just taking that ball there. Pujols quick shovel pass over to Blanton. And it's a foot race won by Florimon.
Some people take exception to, with 2 outs, somebody bunting for a base hit. I've never had a problem with that. I know you.
I'm raising my hand.
I know. That's his game.
Well, then he better steal second very quickly. Because if you do that with 2 outs, I just think a hitter in that situation with 2 outs, swing the bat, hopefully hit a double, maybe an extra base hit. Now, I mean, Mastroianni stole a base last inning. See if Florimon can get a good jump. He has yet to attempt a stolen base this year. I call that padding your average.
Yeah, I know.
I'd rather see a guy swing away and get a double off of me than trying to bunt, which a lot of them did.
The ball hit to center off the bat of Mastroianni, and retreating is Borges. And Florimon left aboard after the bunt single, but the inning started. In fact, the very first pitch of the inning was plunked over the fence by Trevor Plouffe, and the Twins lead at 3-2.
We're in the 5th inning at Target Field in the Minnesota Lottery Winners Circle with $100 worth of scratch-off tickets, courtesy of the Minnesota Lottery, for Mindy, who is here celebrating her 34th birthday, making the connection with Twins legendary number 34, Kirby Puckett. So, Mindy, what have you done tonight to celebrate 3-4?
We came down to the field, walked around a little, looked at some things, had a little hot chocolate, and been enjoying the game so far.
The key there is hot chocolate.
Yeah, that's right. We got to stay warm.
They are keeping warm here. Dick and Bert, it's actually quite, I don't want to say pleasant, it's just not that bad here. The wind really isn't blowing much in the stands at all.
Yeah, but they're growing tough up in Minot. Look at you out there without a hat or anything. That's awesome. Way to go, Marty.
Gloves, though. The hat might come later.
Okay, all right.
Well, happy birthday, young lady, and 356 more days until my next big day.
That'll be what, the 73rd? Which
You're getting closer.
to center. Mastroianni over, and he can't make the play. He lands on the ball, holding with a single. is Luis Jimenez. And from up here, it almost looked like Mastroeni overreached for the ball.
Well, we just mentioned how he is playing very shallow. This time he is playing shallow. He has to run to his right as quick as he can. And right there, that's a line drive, and he dove for it. Looked like he hit the heel of his glove again. We saw that in Kansas City. Same thing. The ball kind of sported behind him, and Jimenez gets his second hit, but stopped at first base.
Last time up, Jimenez reached with a single. He was doubled off second base. Borges bunting foul, 1 strike. Borges bounced into a double play in the third. Correa has gotten 2 ground ball double plays so far on the night. One strike to Borges. Again squaring to bunt. And taking a ball. There goes the runner. Swing and a miss. Mauer's throw. In time to get him. Mauer with a very strong throw. He's had a couple of them sail on him this year. That one was chest high right over the bag.
That was a rocket right there off the right arm of Joe Mauer. Watch Jimenez take off. The high pitch swung through, and a quick tag by Dozier for the first out.
And the count 1-2 to the batter Borges. Slow breaking ball taken for ball 2.
Pretty good right there. You know, you look at Borges, he's one of these young guys that have great minor league numbers, but he hasn't really had a lot of success other than Twins. Against the Twins, he seems to enjoy hitting against the Twins, but last year hit only .220 for the Angels.
Chopper to third. Plouffe charges. And Borges made that a close play. Plouffe took his time, got it there in time, 2 down.
And that's what they like about Borges. He can cover a lot of ground in the outfield. You take some of the pressure off of Mike Trout. You know, it's a new position for Trout to learn left field, but if he can get on, my goodness, he's going to score a lot of runs if he can. The only thing is you can't steal first. And that's the thing that they're going to find out, I think, this summer with Peter Borges. Can he hit major league pitching?
Here's Trout, moved down to second spot in the batting order a few games ago, and the Angels were really struggling. Came to camp a little heavier this year, stronger, hit the weights hard in the offseason. 1-0. Check swing, 2-0.
How many times did we hear last year the comparison between Mike Trout and Mickey Mantle? Yeah. A lot, because of the year he put together. Unbelievable year. Angels' #1 pick back in 2009.
Drilled to left, and it skips to Arcia on 2 hops. No, Correa has not had a 1-2-3 inning. He's given up at least one solid hit in every inning, and that'll bring up Pujols. A unique giveaway for the 2013 season. It's a rain gauge sponsored by Pentair. Be one of the first 10,000 fans through the turnstiles on Monday, April 22nd for the game against the Marlins, and pick one up. Rainy days and Mondays don't always have to get you down. Remember that Carpenter song? I know you do.
Yeah, I do.
Big Carpenters fan.
Yes, I am.
Especially if you get one of those at Target Field on April 22nd. Well, we've certainly needed a rain gauge or a snow gauge in April this year. Very cold temperatures, snow all over the place. You like my Christmas tie?
Yes, I do.
You know, I just figured if it's going to look like Christmas,
Very
I'd go ahead
wintry.
and bring out a Christmas tie.
You look very sharp tonight.
Well, thank you. Toward the hole, cut off by Florimon, sets and fires, and a tag of Pujols ends the inning. Pujols can't run. It's not that he didn't run, he can't run, and Florimon knew that. Makes a nice play to end the 5th inning. Joe Mauer taking strike one. He's leading off the 5th inning. Mauer with a double, a run scored, and a strikeout. Twins in front 3-2. Single runs in innings 1, 3, and 4. Lifted to deep left center field. Trout going back. That ball is gone. Mauer hits his 2nd home run of the season, and they both have gone to the opposite field.
Boy, he gave that baby a ride right there. Blanton, like last inning, he gave up that first pitch home run to Trevor Plouffe. This one 2 pitches into the bottom of the 5th. Mauer getting a high fastball and taking it the other way. Boy, did he get the barrel of the bat out nicely right there. Twins take a 4-2 lead.
Morneau takes a strike at the knees. Morneau doubled to center field over the head of Borges to tie the game at 2 in the 3rd. A breaking ball wraps around the plate, 1-1. This one hit to center, and Borges goes back a couple of steps for the catch, 1 away.
Let's take another look at the swing of Joe Mauer on this fastball. Got the barrel of the bat out and hit it to left center field.
So the Twins now lead it 4-2. Doman takes an off-speed pitch, ball 1. Doman with a big RBI single in the 1st. He struck out on 3 pitches in the 3rd.
Yeah, for Blanton, that's 6 home runs he's allowed this year in his first three starts.
Rolled to second. Easy play for Kendrick. 2 down.
And this copyrighted telecast presented by the authority of the Minnesota Twins and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent from the Minnesota Twins.
Chris Parmelee 0 for 2. Bouncer to second and a strikeout. Strike at the knees. And now 1-1.
This will be pitch number 75 for Joe Blanton. 54 have been strikes.
2-1. Changeup taken off the plate, and it's 3-1. Trevor Plouffe on deck. Hits are even, 8 apiece. Runs are not. And Parmelee takes a 2-out walk.
First walk of the ball game for Joe Blanton.
And Blanton snaps the glove at the return throw from Iannetta. Now Plouffe will come up with a man aboard. Plouffe with a no-doubter got it into the first row of the second deck here at Target Field. The first pitch of the 4th inning gave the Twins their first lead at 3-2. And you could see Iannetta wanted that pitch down and away, and it looked like Blanton threw it right where he threw the home run pitch.
I was going to say, Plouffe, you got to be ready to hit because he came right back with the same pitch.
Nowhere near where Iannetta wanted it. 1 strike. Michael Roth warming up in the pen. And now low, 1-1. Selfishly, I want Plouffe to reach here because I want to see Arcia bat with men on base. He's been a run producer in the minor leagues. He's had 2 at-bats here tonight with the bases empty. That's into the right field corner. How far can Parmelee go? Hamilton with the retrieve. And Parmelee will be held. So, at least I get my wish. Oswaldo Arcia comes up with 2 men in scoring position on a double by Trevor Plouffe.
You know what? Tom Bernanski is going to be happy at that swing right there because Plouffe didn't try to pull that ball. He took that ball the other way. Good piece of hitting right there by Trevor Plouffe.
So Arcia, who singled on the second pitch he saw in the big leagues, reached second on Hamilton's error, then hit a fly ball to center.
Mike Scioscia coming out.
Look at this. I haven't seen the gesture yet, but Mike Scioscia is going to make a pitching change here with 2 outs in the 5th. Blanton just kind of gives him a blank stare and comes off the mound. So Arcia will hit with men on base, but against a rookie left-hander.
Michael Roth just making his second major league debut. His first major league debut, pretty nice. He worked 2 innings. He struck out 4 of the 6 batters he faced, and he ended up getting the win in that ball game. Roth, just 23 years old, signed by the Angels just last year out of the University of South Carolina. The scouting report, not an overpowering left-hander, but a herky-jerky, different arm slot that he'll come at the hitter toward home plate. Mixes in a sinking fastball, slider, big slow curveball, and a changeup.
Angels have had some bullpen issues. Kevin Jepson's on the disabled list with some triceps problems. He's had that going back to spring training. Roth making the call, or being called up from Double-A, and as you said, a year ago right now he was pitching in college, and a year ago right now Oswaldo Arcia was in Fort Myers in Class A ball. So an unlikely matchup here in a key spot. 2 runners in scoring position, 2 out, and Arcia at age 21 has a chance, having already gotten his first big league hit, to get his first big league run batted in. And we mentioned that Arcia was a run producer, emerged as such last year in Class A ball, promoted to Double-A midway through the season, and drove in a total of 98 runs. Arcia drives it to left center field and deep. Trout on the warning track makes the catch. And Arcia headed one out toward the bullpen. He's retired. But the Twins had another run on a Bauer home run, and it's 4-2. For the second year in a row, signed the biggest free agent on the market. 2 years ago, Albert Pujols signing with the Angels, and last year, Josh Hamilton.
Well, not only that, you see C.J. Wilson signing a big contract, Hamilton. Then they go out this year, sign Joe Blanton, Ryan Madson, Tommy Hanson. So they went out, and Jason Vargas coming over. So they have a high payroll, and they expect to do a lot better than they have as far as the start. Now, it's a long way to go, but boy, man for man, they have an outstanding ball club if they can all stay healthy.
Foul on the first pitch from Correa. 0-1 to Hamilton. That's to short center. Florimon out, backpedaling, making the catch right in front of Mastroianni, 1 away. Well, we know it's been difficult here the last couple of years. The Twins have had 2 terrible years on the field and not been in the playoffs, but for the Angels, the playoff drought is now 3 years. And there's a little heat in Southern California. Some people thought the Dodgers over the last year or two have been vulnerable with the chaos out there. And then the Dodgers signed a bunch of players or acquired a bunch of salary with the big trade with the Red Sox. It's a very competitive market, and generally when you have a competitive market like that, patience can run a little thin.
Well, you know, the Dodgers went out and signed Zach Greinke, who pitched for the Angels last year. They gave him a lot of money, and then he, you know, gets in that little rhubarb with Carlos Quentin, and he's out for a couple of months.
Mark Trumbo with 2 hits, a single and a double, both solidly stroked. Big swing, 0-2. Muttering to himself. Two strikes. 1-2. You know, the homestand that the Angels just completed, they took 2 out of 3 from Houston, but they were swept by Oakland. The A's have a payroll less than half of the Angels, and were in the playoffs last year. The Angels were not. 1-2. Off the plate, 2-2. Pitch down and away. Trumbo swings over the top, 2 down. The NFL draft begins April 25th at Fox Sports North's Brian Hall's getting an early start on coverage. Read Brian's preview stories each day between now and draft night at foxsportsnorth.com.
Good strikeout right there. Great pitch, striking out Trumbo. The 3rd strikeout for Kevin Correa, and his first since the 1st inning.
Tickles the corner, strike 1.
That's what I'm talking about. Work down and away to get that strike 1. And then, boy, he threw a nasty pitch to Trumbo. Another good breaking ball that Kendrick swings through.
You know, it's interesting to hear you talk about that and your criticism of how the pitch patterns, I guess, recently through this 5-game losing streak that the Twins pitchers have pitched inside too much, because I think, to be honest, most of the last couple of years you've said just the opposite. They haven't pitched inside enough.
No, you start away and then you pitch inside for a purpose. I think of all the guys that played a long time, all the Hall of Famers. You think of Ferguson Jenkins, Catfish Hunter, Gaylord Perry. Forget about his little forkball that he had. But all the guys, you know, from the Bob Gibsons to the Don Drysdales, they all established a way and then worked in for a purpose. That's your bread and butter. I always look at that chart that Ted Williams had. If every pitch was down and away, one of the greatest hitters of all time baseball said he would have hit 262. Everything else about 300. But down and away is a pitcher's bread and butter pitch.
2-2. And Kendrick fouls it back.
And then I see what the staff has. They don't have the Matt Harveys that we just saw with the Mets that throw 94, 95. So if you throw an 87, 88 mile an hour fastball middle in, hitters are going to adjust. It's easier for them to open up. That's why you have to establish a way.
Foul back again. Pitch count starting to climb for Correa. He's up in the upper 80s now, trying to wrap up the 6th inning.
Some of it's some just old school type of philosophy. I know it's a new era. A lot of these guys, you know, they're set in their way. But your strength is down and away like that. Hit a ground ball. Good pitch.
Charged by Florimo. And Correa has his first 1-2-3 inning and a 2-run lead after 5.5. Twins baseball on Fox Sports North is presented by McDonald's. Right now, you can get 20 crispy chicken McNuggets for just $4.99 at McDonald's. And by Toyota. Let's go places. To find the nearest Toyota dealer and check out our current offers, visit buyatoyota.com. Twins in front 4-2. They fell behind early a couple of times. Twins tickets for this season remain affordable and available starting at just $8. Special deals await for every day of the week. Check out the deal that works best for you and your budget. Visit twinsbaseball.com/tickets or call 833-TWINS and get yours today. Brian Dozier will lead off the bottom of the sixth. Roth got the big out he needed through just one pitch to get it. But Oswaldo Arcia gave that ball a ride to left center field.
No too many left fielders are going to run down that ball like Mike Trout did.
Off the plate, 2-0. You talked about Roth. He got the win in his major league debut about 8 hours after his call-up. So you talk about a whirlwind tour. You think how long it took Liam Hendricks to get his first major league win. Roth gets called up from Double-A, and 8 hours later, he's got one in the win column already.
2 shutout innings, struck out 4 batters in those first 2 innings. Pretty nice major league debut.
And a strike at the knees, 3-1. It'll be Dozier, Florimon, and Mastroeni. And a leadoff walk puts Dozier aboard. And now Florimon, who bunted for a single in the 4th inning with 2 outs, might be asked to put down a different type of bunt here. He'll stand on the box as a right-handed batter. His bunt in the 4th with 2 outs was bunted to Albert Pujols, who has got a terrible pair of issues with his legs. He bunts it again up the line. And Roth fires to Kendrick, and the sacrifice complete. Pujols has plantar fasciitis in his left foot, and he's recovering from knee surgery in his right leg. And it's one of those situations where it really is hard to even watch him trying to run. Dozier at second, 1 away, and now Mastroeni.
Yeah, very, very nice bunt right there by Florimon. That is his first sacrifice hit of the year, so job well done. Let's see if Mastroeni can drive in the runner at second, that being Brian Dozier. Has 1 hit in his second at bat, a base hit, stole a base, later scored.
Put away ball 1. At least for tonight, Aaron Hicks is on the bench. Might see him as a defensive replacement later on. This would be an important run to get here. Just obviously the Twins have played good baseball over the last 5 games. You get a run like this, if it's a base hit from Mastroeni or Mauer, it's got to lift everybody on the bench like, hey, all right, now we're playing better baseball. It's a manufactured run, and home runs are nice. I'm a big fan of home runs, but when you can manufacture a run, you can get a leadoff walk and you can get a sacrifice bunt and maybe a base hit with 1 or 2 outs to add another run.
That's good baseball.
That's turning the corner toward playing better baseball, right?
You know, there's a throw right there. Kendrick showing the open hand right there and the throw to second base. But I think the biggest thing, Dick, is it's a long season and you have to try to forget about, you know, what happened over the last 4 or 5 ball games for the Twins and hopefully start a winning streak.
To the backstop.
Just a bit high.
Wow.
I saw Iannetta go out there and talk to young Michael Roth about the signs, and don't know if he got crossed up again. What's your reaction of Iannetta right here? I think he's a little fooled. I may be looking breaking ball right there. And airmailed over the head of Iannetta.
Well, to tell the story, when Roth was called up, he wasn't even in the big league camp. And so he showed up in the clubhouse, and Mike Butcher went up and said, "Hey, I'm Mike Butcher. I'm your pitching coach." I mean, nobody knows anything about Roth, and he doesn't know anything about Iannetta. Or infield in now with Dozier at third and one away. Down the line, but foul. Interesting ball game at the Rogers Center tonight. Mark Burley beat the Chicago White Sox.
How about that, huh? After spending 11 seasons in a White Sox uniform, he comes back and beats his former teammates.
So now 2-2, and Mastroianni trying to get one through the infield to get Dozier in from third. The Twins at least have a couple of hits. Chases for out number 2.
And a big strikeout right there from Michael Roth. That ball just kept sliding or sinking away from Mastroianni.
Sunday at noon, get ready for the NFL Draft, a special draft preview show. The Vikings Beyond the Gridiron go behind the scenes as the Vikings prepare for the draft. Plus hear from MVP Adrian Peterson on his offseason. Vikings Beyond the Gridiron draft preview Sunday at noon at Fox Sports North. Here's Mauer, a double and a home run. Fastball burns the outside corner. Teams will do it from time to time, but boy, if you're a pitcher at Salt Lake City for the Angels go down to Double-A to make a call up. 0-2. He's going to do one of two things to it.
Make it work harder. That's the bottom line, no matter what happens and who comes up where. You know, could be a slap in the face to some guys, but you know what? It is what it is. I needed a lefty.
2 strikes to Mauer. Punch down the line and a twist foul.
Saw him drop down right there, Michael Roth. So he does give you different arm angles.
He stranded 2 of Blanton's runners in the 5th. Now he's trying to strand one of his own.
Signed last year again by the Angels, mainly as a starter. He made 9 starts down in the minor leagues last year. His only outing down in Double-A this year as a starter. Pitched 5 innings. But asked to come up here and fill a role in the bullpen for the Angels.
2 strikes. And Mauer delivers. A solid single to right, pulling it through the hole. He's got 2 runs batted in and 2 runs scored, and the Twins manufacture a run in the 6th.
Boy, what a nice night for Joe Mauer. Good 2-out hitting again by the Twins. Mauer, as Roth dropped down again, fastball stayed middle in, and Joe pulled that ball between first and second. Twins take a 5-2 lead.
Stretching his legs out for his 8th inning triple. Here's Morneau, an RBI double in the 3rd. Fouled over the Angel dugout. Morneau has his 6th run batted in. So does Doman. Shot toward third. Backhanded by Jimenez. And a low throw dug out by Pujols. Twins did a leadoff walk and worked Dozier around the bases. Lead by 3. Inning. MLB.com @bat is the #1 source for live baseball everywhere you go. Available for iPhone, iPad, Android, and BlackBerry 10. @bat delivers Twins baseball with live audio, pitch tracking, stats, news, highlights, and more. Text @bat to 31826 or visit twinsbaseball.com for details.
Well, Kevin Correa starting his 7th inning of work. Right now at 88 pitches, 53 for strikes. 6 very solid innings. He's given up 8 hits, only 2 runs, both of them coming on home runs. Borges, the first batter he faced, and Brendan Harris in the 3rd.
Chris Iannetta, first batter. Popped up, playable for Plouffe. In foul ground. 1 down. And that will bring up Brendan Harris. Correa ended up throwing 93 pitches in his loss in Kansas City, trying to get through the 8th inning but unable to do so. And he's about to throw his 91st pitch here in the 7th. And one of the values Correa brings, we hope it continues to play out. Casey Feed warming up. I mean, he's been at this long enough, and he's been a consistent pitcher. He, I'm sure, has figured out what type of pitcher he is, what he needs to do to be successful. There's another pop up to left. Arcia coming in. Florimon out, and it's Arcia dropping the ball. And in at second base is Brendan Harris. And Arcia with a late adjustment to his left, and the ball clanked out of his glove. Be an error on the Twins left fielder.
A high fly ball right there. Arcia has plenty of time to get underneath it, and then once he stopped, that ball kind of drifted away from him. He hit his glove. See Florimon giving way to Arcia. You have to open up your glove for the ball to fall in. See it kind of well. It hit the glove and then kind of rattled around and fell out.
There's Luis Jimenez, who already has a couple of hits. Now Correa trying to pitch around some adversity here in the 7th. But would you agree that Correa, he knows what he has to do to be successful? He's not going to be a guy who's going to blow hitters away. He needs to use some finesse and hit his spots.
Yeah, change his speed, rely on that good slider like that right there. It's almost like a little cutter, but good spot right there, down and away. Seen him work both sides of the plate. He realizes that's what he needs to do. 162nd Major League start, 293rd Major League appearance. So a lot of mound time.
Nice block by Mauer on a 0-2 pitch. It's 1-2.
He's pitched almost 1,100 innings at the Major League level.
I think given what the Twins have had over the last 2 years, if in Correa they have a consistent pitcher who's going to pitch around 200 innings, get double digits in wins, keep his team in the ball game most nights, I think they would take that.
Well, especially what they've seen the last 2 years, like you mentioned.
Pulled the string on a breaking pitch, and Jimenez has gone on strikes, 2 down.
And strikeout number 4 for Kevin Correa. So it's a breaking ball, just takes a little off. And Jimenez way out front.
So 2 down. Harris still at second, and now Peter Borges.
I'll tell you what, you get a lot of satisfaction as a pitcher when you can pick up your defense. And with that error by the left fielder out there, you want to put a 0 on the board. You want to get this out right here. You know why? Because they make so many great plays behind you that errors are going to happen. But But the only thing you can do as a pitcher is pick up your defense.
Especially in a case like this, guy's playing his first major league game. He doesn't want to make a mistake that's going to cost his team a run. 1 strike to Borges. And now 2 strikes. And the veteran pitcher well on his way to picking up his left fielder making his major league debut. Borges homered to start the game, bounced into a double play and hit the 3rd in the 5th. And a slow breaking ball, like similar pitch to the one that struck out Jimenez, and Borges got a piece.
Yeah, he left it up a little bit. Borges just fouled it off. Take a look at the last pitch right here. Mauer wants it down and just a little bit up. Might drop that baby right on the other side of home plate.
Yeah, they'll talk about it. In case you're wondering, Arcia, by the way, advertised as a right fielder. That's what he's been in the Twins system. But I asked him during batting practice today about left field, and he says, no problem. He says, in Venezuela, that's all I played. So it's not a foreign position to him by any means. It's just professionally the Twins have had a need in right field, so he's played more on the other side of the outfield than left.
You can see him with that hoodie on right there. I mean, he's not used to this cold weather.
Ron Gardenhire hoping that the Twins can get through this 7th inning with a 3-run lead. 2 strikes to Borges. Wouldn't chase the high fastball. Strikeouts that Correa has gotten, not that he needs one here, has been on the breaking pitch down and away. Another high fastball.
Well, 100 pitches so far. Most in the 4th, 23.
And he realizes this might be his last man one way or the other with Mike Trout on deck. 2-2. Struck him out. 7 very strong innings for Kevin Correa. The 3rd such outing as a Twin. Seven good innings again tonight. Perhaps the Twins can protect his lead, get him his first win.
Yeah, 101 pitches, 62 for strikes for Kevin Correa. Very good numbers. 5 strikeouts in a ball game, 1 walk.
He really picked up his left fielder who made the 1-out error. Here's Ryan Doumit. Strike 1. Doumit, Parmalee, and Plouffe here in the 7th. Big hit for Doumit with 2 outs in the first inning. A single that tied the game at 1. This one hit hard to right center field. It's got some carry, and that ball is caught right at the wall. Hamilton right at the fence and right under the overhang for the first out.
Let's go back to the last inning with Kevin Correa against Peter Bourjos. Remember, he was ahead 0-2. He left the pitch up. Bourjos fouled off. Then he tried a couple high fastballs. What you want to do is change the eye level of that hitter. That fastball a little bit higher, and then the nasty little slider looked like down and away. So a good ending to a very good start for Kevin Correa.
Hey, good take. Here we go.
Parmalee takes ball 1. 0 for 2 with a walk. You know, you've often said when pitchers come inside to a batter when they're ahead of the count, go back in there again, and then that'll further set up your out pitch.
Well, only because you're ahead.
Right.
You know, you got to get ahead to go in and then repeat inside. I learned that from Don Drysdale about, you know, don't just go in once and then go away. And it was kind of like that at bat that Billy Butler had against Mike Pelfrey in Kansas City. He went in 3 times and then showed him a fastball about off the plate. Well, Butler's such a good hitter. He sat inside again. He hit that double down that third baseline. You have to mix it up. You can't stay one way with the hitter, but when you're in the head in the count, you have to stay aggressive.
In Correa's case, it looked like he went upstairs and then went back up there again to set up the pitch he wanted to get him out with, the slider down and away.
Yeah, we had a chance to see Joe Mauer and Kevin Correa talking about that last pitch sequence to Peter Bourjos between innings.
Down and away, 2-2.
When they were talking about going up and then, you know, throwing that nasty breaking ball down and away. So it worked very nicely.
Two and 2 to Parmalee. And a long way down the line to left, but it's going to turn foul. Inside. It's 3-2. Fouled back. Roth walked the leadoff man Dozier in the 6th and paid the price. Twins worked Dozier around for an insurance run. Parmalee has walked 6 times this season. And a fastball inside, a foul tip by Aneta Hazan, out number 2.
And Roth picks up his 2nd strikeout.
Good night at the plate for Trevor Plouffe. He'll have to face a different pitcher here, but Plouffe with a leadoff homer in the 4th and an opposite field double in the 5th. Socher to the mound.
Well, Trevor Plouffe in his 2nd at bat hit his 2nd home run. That gave the Twins a 3-2 lead. And then in the 5th inning, a double for Trevor Plouffe.
And so the Twins with a 3-run lead, 2 outs in the bottom of the 7th. right-hander Mark Lowe.
Yeah, Mark Lowe went to spring training with the Dodgers. Then he was released by the Dodgers on March 24th. 3 days later, he signed with the Angels. Mark Lowe came up with the Mariners back in 2006. Also pitched for the Texas Rangers.
Off the plate, ball one.
All the teams that Lowe has pitched for have all been in the Western Division. The American League, the Mariners, the Rangers, now the Angels.
The Angel bullpen got off to a terrible start this year, but then coming into play today, they had 9 2/3 scoreless innings over their last 3 games against the Houston Astros. Twins got a run against Roth in the 6th. 2-0 now to Trevor Plouffe. 3-0 with Arcia on deck. Jared Burton's warmed up. Looks like he's going to have the 8th inning. Green lighted. A foul to the backstop. Three and one. The Twins' third baseman. At the knees, 3-2. Breaking ball, 81 miles per hour. And Lowe fell behind Plouffe 3-0, came back to strike him out. Twins coming back twice and taking a lead.
Well, Peter Borges led off the ball game with a home run, but the Twins came right back. Brendan Harris in the 3rd inning hits a solo home run. Sevy's getting a first major league hit. Taking a ball out. Trevor Plouffe with a solo home run in the 4th inning. And then in the 5th inning, Joe Mauer getting a fastball and hitting it over the wall for his 2nd home run of the year.
CenturyLink to what's next. It'll be Trout, Pujols, Hamilton. A lot of Angel power and salary. Due to face Jared Burton.
Guess you'd have to say that's their meat part of the lineup. Well, Jared Burton will be facing the meat part of the lineup.
with a 3-run lead now behind him. The Twins have changed their outfield defense. Look at Burton's year so far, and it's been a very good start to his second year in a Twins uniform.
Yeah, 4 1/3 innings, only 2 hits allowed, couple walks with 5 strikeouts, making his 6th appearance.
Trout with a single and a double and a strikeout in reverse order. Inside, ball 1. The Twins have Aaron Hicks in center and Darren Mastroianni in left. Mastroianni moving over from center field. Hicks in the game. He'll get an at bat, leading off the bottom of the 8th. Inside again, 2-0.
Yeah, Burton worked here on Saturday against the Mets. 1 shutout inning. He pitched the top of the 9th inning, 17 pitches, 14 for strikes. No free passes. Make him swing.
Anthony's 2-1. And in the dirt, 3-1. Not just Trout, Pujols, and Hamilton, but it's Trumbo hitting behind those 3. Great power in the Angel lineup. So to echo your thoughts, if they're going to get on base, make sure they hit their way on.
Yeah, no free passes.
Didn't mean to. It's a little number in front of the plate. Mauer rockets his throw to Morneau. Well, the Twins caught a break there as fast as he is. Trout got a little number in front of the plate. Mauer pounced on it, threw him out.
Yeah, and as a catcher, you know who's running too. So even though it's a kind of a check swing, swinging bunt, Mauer has to get out there barehanded and get it quickly over to Justin.
It was a bang play. 1 down, and here's Pujols. 0 for 3 tonight. Couple of home runs on the year, and you referenced it before. Strike 1. Last year, Pujols started so slowly, weeks without a run batted in, and incredibly 110 at bats without a home run to start the season.
Well, he's a guy that when he gets hot, he gets hot.
It's off the end of the bat, and it's toward the seats and out of play.
Yeah, I mean, you're talking what? 100 at-bats, that's probably 1/6 of his at-bats he's going to have throughout the year. And he ended up driving in 105 runs and hit 285 and hit 30 home runs.
Yep.
3-time National League MVP for the Cardinals back in 2005 to 2008 and 9.
To center and down for a hit. A 1-out single for Pujols. Twins tickets remain affordable and available for the 2013 season. Sports Authority Value Pack on Tuesdays and Thursdays include a ticket, a hot dog, and a soda. Other specials also available every day of the week. Find out more by calling 833-TWINS or visiting twinsbaseball.com. Hamilton, 1 strike.
Hamilton 0 for 3 so far in the ball game. Kevin Correa was able to get 2 ground ball double plays turned in the 2nd and 3rd inning. That changeup right there that almost looks like a split finger. The bottom just drops out of that changeup that Jared Burton throws toward home plate.
That's a good thing about facing these guys in the 8th inning. Presumably you won't have to face them in the 9th.
Let's hope not.
It's down the line and it'll curve foul. 1-2. In the case of Pujols a year and a half ago and this last winter getting Hamilton, the Angels kind of came in from nowhere to sign those big players to their big contracts. 1-2. Foul ball.
Well, the only owner for the Angels, Artie Moreno, just wants to bring a World Series team to the Anaheim area.
And the Angels come out of the gates with a 2-8 start, and there's already rumblings that they miss Torrey Hunter's leadership on the field in the clubhouse. Incredibly, some people even think Mike Scioscia has to win this year or his neck is on the chopping block. 1-2. And Hamilton strikes out.
Well, we went back to that changeup at 85 miles an hour, and a big second out here in the 8th inning.
So 2 down, and here's Trumbo. Twins with only 4 wins on the season. 3 of those have been 1-run wins. Trumbo with a pair of hits and a strikeout. Squirted to the right side. Morneau will make the play, and it's another scoreless inning for Jared Burton.
Bottom of the 8th inning. I'm Marnie Gellner. Coming up immediately after the game, we'll bring you our post-game coverage. It's Twins Live, presented by CenturyLink. We will look at the multi-hit game for Joe Mauer, which includes a double, single, and a home run. Plus, Kevin Correa, 7 strong innings, a good quality start for the Twins tonight, and reaction from Ron Gardenhire inside the clubhouse. And what has been so far, Dick and Bert, a very good night for these Minnesota Twins.
Yeah, thank you very much, Marnie. Yeah, for Kevin Correa, that's 3 quality starts in a row, looking for his first win as a Minnesota Twin. I remember Aaron Hicks took over in center field, and Aaron Hicks will be leading off here against Mark Lowe.
Down low, ball 1. It has been a miserable start for Hicks in his major league career. 20 strikeouts and 43 at bats. And the Twins just want him to have a game like the 20 or so he had in spring training.
Well, it's a little different sometimes, Dick, spring training and the regular season, because spring training, sometimes a lot of those at-bats might have been a double against a AA or AAA pitcher. Here he's facing major league pitchers night after night.
And it just keeps going on and on. 3 pitches a day, every at-bat, it seems. The count is 1-2.
Well, he just fouled off a pitch away, so what do the Angels do? They come in with a fastball for strike 2. Now the count 1 ball, 2 strikes. And what what we've seen in this count a lot from Hicks is that breaking ball. And it doesn't matter what pitcher's out there. There's just a breaking ball that lands in front of home plate.
2-2. Arcia in his major league debut. A single and a couple of outfield flies. Two and two to Aaron Hicks. And a curve, a pitch taken by Hicks to fill the count. Full count. See if he gets another breaking ball.
Well, you know what? Lowe threw a 3-2 breaking ball to Trevor Plouffe. Strike him out. Slider low.
It's not a hit, but it is something. He fell behind 1-2, and he ends up going to first with a walk. Subway in-game box score. The Twins getting some power provided with a couple of home runs.
Yeah, Joe Mauer 3 for 4 in a ball game, a solo home run, double, singles, driven in a couple runs. Trevor Plouffe with his second home run and adding a double. Twins with 10 hits in a ball game.
Hicks can steal a base. He's 0 for 1. Dozier at the plate, the 8th place hitter, and then Florimon. I got a hunch he's going to try to steal second here. Twins took a leadoff walk in the 6th. Sacrifice bunt and a wild pitch and a single later. They scored their 5th run. Long look into Iannetta. And a strike in the minor leagues. Hicks with 92 steals. He was caught 41 times. Last year, though, almost a 3-to-1 stolen base throwout percentage. One area of his game where the Twins thought he was putting it together. We'll see whether they ask him to steal here.
Yeah, 32 bases last year at AA in 43 attempts.
And they pitch out. And Hicks dives back to the bag. The 32 steals last year, a career high. But again, that was at AA.
Paying a lot of attention to Hicks at first base.
One and one to Dozier. There he goes. And the pitch fouled back. So Dozier trying to hit the ball behind the runner, although on that play the shortstop Harris was the infielder covering second base.
Yeah, may have been a hit and run, but Hicks got a great jump right there. Dozier got a fastball away and fouled it off.
One and two. Doesn't go, and Dozier fouls it almost out of Ionetta's mitt.
That's protecting the plate right there.
There he goes. Another good jump. And there's no throw. Hicks with a stolen base, his first big league swipe. Got such a good jump that Ionetta never bothered to even get out of his crouch.
Yeah, another great jump right there by Hicks as he takes off, and a breaking ball down and away. And Hicks, like you mentioned, Dick, his first career stolen base at the major league level.
Slow as low is to the plate. Be surprised to see Hicks try to steal third.
Dozier would like to move him over here.
Nice block by Ionetta. Hicks advances to third. So a stolen base, now a wild pitch. And the count runs full to Dozier.
What makes this right here is Hicks' alertness to watch that ball go in the dirt and then get away from the catcher. Ionetta comes up right there. He sees the ball get away, head first slide into third. Nobody out.
That forces the Angels now to bring the infield in.
Yeah, wild pitch charge to Mark Lowe.
And Dozier walks. So first and third. And the Twins have put a ball in play here in the 8th inning. And Florimone, who's bunted his last 2 times up. Once for a base hit, once a sacrifice bunt. Giving some signs in front of the plate. In the event Dozier takes off.
Boy, you can see we're base on balls and just, you know, how it can slow down a ball game when your pitcher can't hit the ball over the plate.
And the Twins got a leadoff walk to Dozier in the 6th and got an important run as a result of that. Now the first 2 batters have walked. Infield halfway in. And Florimone takes one at the belt. Jimenez comes to the mound to talk to Lowe. Another brief chat. Glenn Perkins warming up, but now the Twins have a right-hander going too. I would imagine that's Casey Fiend, but I don't know. In case the Twins take this 3-run lead and expand it in the bottom of the 8th.
We'll take a save situation away from Perkins.
There goes Dozier. And Florimone with a hefty rip and a foul back.
Twins see something on Mark Lowe. He kind of slow home when that left leg comes up. Hicks tried a couple times, finally successful. And then Dozier got a good jump right there.
No attempt at a slide step throughout his whole performance here in the 8th inning. There he goes. Base hit left center field. Florimone drives in a run. Dozier to third. They're going to wave him around. Harris can't handle the throw, and it's a 2-run base hit for Pedro Florimone.
I tell you what, Joe Vavra took a gamble right there because of the way that Dozier hustled on that base hit to left center. And that kind of surprised the Angels a little bit because I think Harris was set up for a throw toward third base. It'll be a double for Florimone driving in. 2 runs. So right here, taking the ball the other way. But watch the jump that Dozier had, of course, stealing second. And then the hustle. See Joe Vavra right there sending him all the way. So good hustle by Brian Dozier.
Rough outing for Lowe as he comes out of the game. His 2 walks have come around to score. It's a 5-run lead for the Twins. And a 7-2 score here as we continue on in the 8th. Couple of 1-run leads very early on, but now the Twins are packing on some runs in the 8th.
Yeah, Dane De La Rosa coming in out of the bullpen, making his 4th appearance for the Angels on the season. Started the season down in AAA, got called up the 9th of April when Jarrett Weaver was put on a disabled list.
Darren Mastroianni, the batter. And outside ball 1.
De La Rosa, a tall drink of water at 6'7". Pitched for the Rays over the last couple years, 2011 and 12. Traded over to the Angels over the winter.
And a pitch up, foul to the net. 1-1. Bouncer to short. Florimon stays put. Harris over to Pujols, 1 away. That'll bring up Mauer, who's got a double, a home run, and a single.
I want to see this triple.
Yeah?
Well, good day at the plate for Joe Mauer. A double in his first at-bat, high off the wall. And then in the 5th inning, first pitch he saw from Blanton hitting a home run the other way. Excuse me, the second pitch. Then an RBI single in the 6th inning. So Joe, 3 for 4. He's driven in a couple runs.
20 major league triples, 4 of them last year, and he takes a strike. One strike to Mauer. This has been the best Twins game thus far in terms of hitters in the lineup picking each other up. Mauer's only been retired once. That was in the 3rd inning after Mastroianni's single. He stole second. Mauer in position, we thought, to at least advance him to 3rd, but Mauer struck out. Next guy up, Morneau, crashed a double off the center field fence. The run scored. And that's kind of been the theme here tonight. To center, his 4th hit tonight. Florimon around 3rd. He's going to score. So a great night at the plate for Joe Mauer. 4 for 5 and 3 runs batted in.
I remember he came into this ball game with just 1 RBI, and that was off his own bat, that home run in Kansas City. Here tonight, breaking ball, and Joe lining it right back up the middle. His 4th hit, driving in his 3rd run. And the Twins open up the game a little bit here in the bottom of the 8th inning.
The only game they've won this year that hasn't been by a 1-run score was a 1-run game in the 8th at home against Detroit, and they scored 5 times in the 8th inning to bust it open. And then kind of what might be happening here. It's a 6-run lead now. Morneau with that double in 4 trips. Lazy fly to left, and Trout puts it away for out number 2. And that'll bring up Doman. So 8 runs on the board so far, and this without the Twins' regular center fielder and leadoff man Aaron Hicks, but maybe more significantly without their top run producer Josh Willingham, reported to the ballpark feeling under the weather today.
Yeah, we're hoping that Josh has come back tomorrow and be in that lineup tomorrow night. Josh, he might be watching the ball game. Get well soon.
1-0 to Ryan Doman.
Does that mean he's day to day?
Well, I think you've said over the years we all are. Another slow breaking pitch over for a strike. 1-1. Oakland's put up 6 first-inning runs against the Astros in the Bay Area. One and 2. This afternoon in Boston, long about the time Mike Napoli did a walk-off double at Fenway Park. It all broke loose on Boylston Street. Doman strikes out.
Our prayers are with all those people.
Absolutely. 3 runs for the Twins in the bottom of the 8th. After getting rained out yesterday, the Twins have put 8 runs up on the board, are in position to win the opening game here against the Angels.
A lot of number 42 scored for the Twins. We got another 42 on the mound. Honoring Jackie Robinson here tonight, University night. AC Fiend coming in, making his 7th relief appearance. He worked on Saturday 2 shutout innings. Had a couple strikeouts in that outing. Threw only 16 pitches, 13 for strikes.
Howie Kendrick, first man that Casey Fiend will face, and it's inside, ball one.
That's why you saw the ERA of 6 for Casey Fiend. He's pitched better than that. Remember, he left that ball game with bases loaded in Baltimore, and Tyler Robertson came in, and Chris Davis hit that grand slam. Well, 3 runners on base were his responsibility. So sometimes it takes a reliever a long time to get that ERA back to a respectability.
1-1 to Kendrick. Expect nothing less from Fiend. He's a perfect guy to have on the mound in this situation. It's a non-save situation, but what I mean is you want somebody who's going to throw strikes, no nonsense out there, get the ball, throw it over the plate, and
attack.
He is an attacker. 1-2. Lifted to short right. Dozier with a nice catch in front of Parmalee. 1 away. And again, our weekly Twitter poll, our AT&T Twitter poll, we're asking you which division will be the most competitive this season. And the AL East would probably get my vote too.
Honestly, I like the West.
Really?
Just because of Oakland. You look at Texas, Seattle's improved, and this ball club here, the Angels, are going to get better as the summer goes on.
I could give you an argument whether it's convincing or not.
Come on,
I guess
just go ahead.
I could give you an argument.
Hey, New York's
for all 5 teams in the American League East winning it, and all 5 teams in the American League East finishing last. There's a ball stroked to left, and Mastroianni makes the catch out, number 2.
Iannetta hitting the ball sharply, but Mastroianni making a nice little leaping catch at the end for the second out.
You know what I mean about the East. I mean, people are the sexy pick, the Toronto Blue Jays to win the division. Well, they could finish last. I could see that happening too.
Well, right now, Tampa Bay off to a slow start, 4-7. Yep. They're in last place. You know that's not going to last. It should, not with their pitching.
They're not hitting. They've just got a terrible.
I think they're hitting .211 as a ball club.
Here's Brendan Harris, last hope for the Angels, and Fiend attacking. Strike 1. Strike 2. Pitch up high. Just off the plate, 2-2.
Just missing again.
And now a full count with Luis Jimenez on deck. To center, Hicks coming in to end the game. Good ball game for the Twins. A 5-game losing streak has come to a convincing end.
Well, you need somebody to step up, and there's Kevin Correa here tonight. 7 very good innings, 3rd time in a row. He's gone at least 7 innings. Twins got him some run support this time, and the Twins ended up beating the Angels.
And Tom Hanneman, a good win for the Twins, and I guess the overriding impression we've gotten from this game is it's a lot more fun when Ron Gardenhire can use his bullpen when he wants to rather than when he has to.
There's no question about it, Dick. A feel-good win for the Twins. Their first since April 7th in Baltimore. A span of 8 days. Up next, Twins Live. We'll talk about Joe Mauer's multi-hit night, Kevin Correa's quality start, and we'll hear from Ron Gardenhire. It's all up next on Twins Live, presented by Century Lake.